Love. Some would say it took a backseat when the pandemic forced us apart. As a family-run and proudly Canadian-owned company, Charm Diamond Centers saw the need to bring us together with tales of love and created the Canadian Love Map podcast. Since then, we've shared hundreds of real, uplifting stories that prove love conquers all. So thank you for listening. We couldn't do it without you. And remember, love starts here.
But she's unlike anyone else that I've ever been with or talked to. And I think that our love really grew strong because we didn't have physicalness for 11 months. We didn't see each other. So we built a really good base, unlike anything I've ever done in the past.
Hi, I'm Nancy Regan. Welcome to Season 3 of the Canadian Love Map. This week's love story belongs to Jada and Jenni. This cross-border couple fell in love long before they even met. First came TikTok, then came FaceTime, then came a plot twist in a baby carriage. Now for the whole story, here are Jada and Jenni. Hey, you two. How are you?
We're doing very well. How are you?
I've been so excited to talk to you because you are a modern day love story personified. Okay, let's jump right in and talk about how you met. This is a phenomenal story.
Okay, I'm going to let Jada take it over.
Well, about a year ago, I was literally just scrolling TikTok, not minding my own business, scrolling TikTok. And then one of her videos popped up on my For You page, and it was a cute little video. And so I commented on it, just a comment, and it said yes with a period, just one word. And then ever since then, she has we've talked every day, and we've pretty much been together since that comment.
August 6th.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that video was a little scandalous. I was in a stage in my life where I didn't want a relationship. Wasn't looking for one. And then Jada came around and I was like, well, this is different. And number one, she was beautiful. So I was that person at first. But after that, I don't know, it was different. The connection was real, and it was 22 hours apart. So I was like, this is crazy. But at first I didn't know she lived in Canada. I thought she lived in the States.
Yeah, so let's talk about where you both were geographically.
Yeah, I'm from Ohio.
Yeah, and I'm all the way here in Saskatchewan. So quite a difference.
Okay, and now we've really got to go back for a second, because the moment you said the video that Jada commented on was scandalous, I knew we have to find out a little bit more about it, because otherwise people at home are going to be going, what was that, I wonder?
Yeah, maybe they'll look it up. They can come see us.
Yeah.
Oh, I see you're throwing some bait out there. That's good. Very wise. Yeah. Will you give us another hint about it?
Okay, I will. So this lady likes to post thirst trap after thirst trap.
I used to.
Yeah, so
okay, wait, I gotta get out more. What's a thirst trap?
I don't know how to explain that.
So I'll explain the video a little bit. She had no shirt on.
Oh, but you couldn't see anything.
Completely topless.
Okay.
But you couldn't see nothing but maybe a little bit of cleavage, but that's it. Yeah, so that's
thanks, Jada.
You're welcome.
Okay, this is an education, you guys. All right, so now I understand. And you just said yes.
Yeah,
I can see
it was a Sam Smith song. Can I lay by your side? And she was answering.
Yeah, so she was mouthing the words, and then I just said yes. And that was pretty much it.
Okay, that was an important thing to understand.
Yeah.
You guys were going to yada yada past that part, but that's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet.
Well, I was trying not to say that.
And you thought I was going to let you get away with that? Forget it. Forget it. Okay, so tell us how that initial flirtation turned into a relationship.
It was a lot of work on my end because
that's
she
Jada
was just
speaking. Yep.
She was at the point where she didn't want anybody romantically. And I was like, nope, this is the one. I'm taking it. You're mine now. And so we just, we Snapchatted for a while. We didn't exchange numbers for like
a couple weeks.
Took me a couple weeks to get her number.
Yeah.
And then after that, we FaceTimed every day pretty much and texted 24/7.
But I FaceTimed you first.
Yeah, she FaceTimed me first.
And did that take a lot of courage?
Yes. Yes. I was like, oh no, this girl's beautiful. She's going to see me not in a video. Oh no, because I can edit that video 1,000 different ways. So yeah, it did actually. I was really nervous.
How many hours do you suppose you've spent on FaceTime?
Oh my God. I mean, we sleep together on the phone when we're apart. So
many hours.
12 to 18 hours a day, probably.
Wow. So when you were locked down, you weren't alone. You were together on FaceTime much of the day.
Yeah. Aside from like us being at work, when we were home, it was FaceTime.
Yeah. Even doing our like mundane task, like dishes or just watching a show, we'd watch the same show together.
And when did you know? When was there really a sense of magic?
For me, so Jenni went on this trip to Washington last September.
Seattle.
Yeah. And were you hiking?
Yeah, I was hiking.
She was hiking with one of her coworkers, and they took a break from hiking and just like were drinking water, and she called me. And out of everybody she could have called, she called me, and I was just kind of like, oh, I love this woman. And yeah, so ever since then, shortly after is when we exchanged I love yous.
Yeah, I did it on accident. It just slipped out. I was like, all right, I love you, bye. And I was like, oh. I like hung up real quick, and I was like, I can't answer the phone. I can't call her back.
Yeah, it was like out of nowhere. Again, I was in my car, and she just said, we were hanging up the phone. She says, I love you, bye. And I just like looked at her, and then like I was just so shocked I didn't know what to say. So in that moment, I was just kind of
she didn't say it back.
But you didn't really give her time to say it back. I was just thinking that's kind of convenient because you hung up right away, so you didn't have time whether to find out whether
I didn't
just
have
leave you hanging
rejection or anything. I was good.
Yeah. So then she wouldn't answer the phone. After I called her back, she was so nervous. And then once I got on the phone with her, I did say it back.
But she's loved me since the first week. So we're good. We're good. I felt that anyways. I felt comfortable saying it enough to where I could just say it without knowing it. So I think my love for Jada was a gradual kind of love. I don't think there was like a specific moment. But she's unlike anyone else that I've ever been with or talked to. And I think that our love really grew strong because we didn't have physicalness for 11 months. We didn't see each other. So we built a really good base, unlike anything I've ever done in the past.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes the romance gets in the way of the friendship developing. Yeah, that's really cool. So even though you hadn't met each other in person until very recently, you were committed partners.
Yep.
Okay, so every great story has a complication and a conflict. And something happened fairly early on in your courtship that could have broken things up. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, Jada.
Yeah, Jada.
I was very, very patient with Jenni. It didn't really bother me at all that she had to do what she had to do to heal. And she wasn't crazy or anything. She just, sometimes when you go through a breakup, you go through a little phase after. And that's completely normal.
But that's why I wanted to take that time to just get to know her and not commit to something right away. I wanted to make sure, and I wanted to make sure for myself because I deserve that as well.
This podcast is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, Canada's largest family-owned jewelry store. They are proud to be putting love on the map, and the staff at Charm Diamond Centers are thrilled to be a part of your love story too. So visit charmdiamondcenters.com or one of your local stores. Love starts here. Jada, you tried to smooth right over that big surprise that you hit Jenni with. So now it's back on you, Jada. Tell us about the shocker.
So when I had met Jenni, I was just finding out that I was pregnant. And so I didn't tell her right away because obviously I wasn't sure, like, is this woman going to stick around? Like, why would I spill out all my tea right away? And so I just kind of waited until I knew, like, this was going to be something serious. And so when we decided to make it, like, official, like we were going to do this together, then I kind of dropped the bomb on her. I feel bad for the way I did it, but I had to kind of just throw it out there. So yeah, like I couldn't even.
Were you 3 months pregnant when you told me?
I was about 3 months pregnant when I told her.
So is it too personal to ask how that conversation went?
Yeah. So I couldn't face her. I told her, I said, Jenni, like, can we talk? I need to tell you something. I couldn't answer her phone call. I declined every FaceTime call because I was so nervous and I felt like getting sick. So I ended up just texting it to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just said,
I guessed it actually.
I didn't tell her. I said, look, this is something that happened a few months ago. And then she said, you're pregnant. And I said, yes. And so, yeah, that was probably the biggest
mic
bomb.
drop, right?
Mic drop is right.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
And so I freaked out because, obviously I was talking to this person for a good month. I got really close to her really fast, which is unlike me. But then she told me that and I was like, oh no. First I put my brakes on, I need to think about this. I don't want kids right now. What the heck? Why wouldn't you tell me? I felt really betrayed.
Yeah.
I
imagine a cage all of a sudden shutting around your heart again,
Yes. So it just opened and then I was like, oh my God, I just opened this and now my walls are going right back.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Jada tried to call me I don't know how many times, but I wouldn't talk to her. That night for a good while. I texted her a couple times back. But other than that, I just cried for a really long time. I don't know how long did it take for me to come around?
It took her a day.
Took me a day. But then I was like, I've always wanted kids. And I really had to think about it. And I was like, I love this woman. And why would I not be with someone because they have kids? I love kids. Yeah. I didn't like the way that it was brought about. I didn't like that it was text to me. I didn't like that it wasn't in the, first conversation that we've had. Mm-hmm. But after I got over those initial problems and issues, it really is such a beautiful thing if you think about it. I got to be there through her whole pregnancy.
On FaceTime?
Yes.
Yeah.
On FaceTime. All the doctor's visits and stuff like that. We would talk about everything. I feel like I was here. I just wasn't here physically.
Wow. So you got to see the ultrasounds in real time and everything.
Yeah, some of them. And then when she went to the hospital, things like that, we were still on FaceTime. I wasn't allowed to be on FaceTime during because she had a C-section. Mm-hmm. But right afterwards, I was really nervous because it took a couple hours and she was out of it. So, but right afterwards, she called me and then we got to have our moment with Zayden and everything. It was just all through FaceTime.
That is just wild. And so you still hadn't met her in person.
Nope.
When did you meet them both in person, in the flesh?
July 3rd. Yeah, they flew to the States, both. So Jada's never been on a plane before. And so she flew with a baby.
Wow.
A 4-month-old.
Oh my gosh. See, that takes courage too.
Yeah.
It was nerve-wracking. So nerve-wracking. I would have been fine if it were me by myself. But not knowing, like being a first time mom and not knowing how your baby's going to react when you are flying in the air is like a completely different feeling. But luckily, like he's a good baby and he slept the whole time.
Yeah, but you were also on your way to meet this person that you loved who you've never actually held before.
After a year. Yeah, it was close to a year, 11 months and some days when I met them for the first time. And for me, I was meeting two people.
Yeah.
So it was a huge thing. Like I wasn't just meeting like my lady, I was meeting my son as well. So I don't know. I can't explain to you the feeling that I had. I was so nervous. I went by myself. I surprised her in the airport. I told her I would be outside in the car, but I went inside and set my phone up, and she just threw her bag to her side and like ran over to me. It was a perfect moment, but I wasn't myself for a good day because it just felt like so unreal. Like I was like, what the hell? What is going on?
The word that springs to mind is discombobulated.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, because she sounds different on the phone, and then in person it's the same, but it was different. It was just crazy. It was a crazy moment.
And so how quickly did things settle down?
I think it only took a couple hours to like feel comfortable, but for the first 24 hours, it felt like I was dreaming. But we got comfortable with each other right away. It was just a different environment. So I think we were both in shock a little bit.
Yeah, we strapped the baby to me and I walked out into my car and I'm like, oh, I'm my mom now. I did this. I just had this baby.
Insta baby.
Yes. It was the easiest pregnancy I ever had. Because I've never had one.
No morning sickness or anything.
No,
Go
nothing.
figure.
Nothing at all.
So how long was that visit? And then how much time have you actually spent together since in the same physical environment?
We're there for 5 weeks.
I stayed for about 5 weeks in the States. And then I came home August 9th.
Yeah. Her first original flight was the 7th. And then I took them, had that awful thing of saying goodbye to both of them. And her flight ended up being canceled 6 hours later. So I had to go back and get her.
Oh, no.
And then we had to do it again.
Another
in 2 days.
goodbye. Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's double
awful.
the pain, right? Double the pain.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it felt like torture.
I was so thankful to have another night with her, but it was pretty bad to rip the Band-Aid off twice.
And Jenni, now you're in Canada.
Yes.
But for how long?
I leave on Saturday. I was here 2 weeks.
Right. So what does the future hold for you two?
Well, we are officially engaged now.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. After she leaves here on Saturday, me and Zayden won't be going back until about Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
For about 5-6 weeks again. We'll be there. And then I guess that's when we're going to have to start our whole process of moving.
Yeah, so they're going to be moving to the States.
Mm-hmm.
We're not too sure how to go
about it yet.
There's a couple different options, but I'm not sure which one is the best for us yet.
But you're figuring it out as you go.
Yeah. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
Especially with two people.
But is it negotiable? I mean, is there any going back now?
No, you're stuck.
I told her,
Sorry.
I said, if it's not me, it's not anybody. Sorry.
She's a little crazy.
Oh my gosh. What is it you absolutely love about each other?
Her bubbly personality is my favorite.
I love everything. She puts me in my place a little bit when I'm a little crazy or get an attitude. But I love her laugh. I don't know. She makes me feel safe. We went out for the first time the other day, and I've always had bad past experiences where people aren't really good partners when you go out and about. And I just felt like I was safe for the first time. So I guess that's why.
And did you ever think you'd be in a relationship that has this kind of a feeling of safety and closeness?
No. No, not at all. Like I kind of wrote that off a long time ago. So
this is definitely a new thing for both of us. And it like came so unexpectedly.
Yeah. Yep.
So the three of you must be just busy cherishing each other.
Always, yes. Yeah, Zayden is absolutely in love with her. She taught him how to give kisses.
Oh, yeah, I did.
And he says mama now. He's a big boy.
Well, this is a beautiful, positive story. I can't help but think people around you must feel like this is a wonderful piece of light, sort of, in a dark time.
Yeah, the amount of like feedback we've gotten just from our news interview and like our TikToks, and even our families are like ecstatic for us. So it's a good feeling.
That's
for sure.
So great. How do people find you on TikTok?
Jenny D11.
Okay.
Something like that. Jennifer Danielle.
I don't
know what my name is on there.
What do you have to say to people out there who are wishing for a love like you're describing and feeling like it'll, never happen?
Be patient. That it will happen eventually. I'm 28 years old. I have been married to a man before, and not every love is the same. And if you're patient enough, you're going to find your person. Because I felt like giving up a long time ago, and then I did give up, and then out of nowhere, I found my person that I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. So just be patient.
You found your Canadian angel.
I know, eh?
Oh, that's so great. Okay, so the only thing we haven't talked about is this proposal. You just sort of slipped it in there that you're engaged now, but we've got to hear the story of the proposal.
It wasn't anything like crazy. I had gotten us a room at the spa. So that was like our very first night away, just the two of us. And so we got a little liquored, had some drinks, and then we were just relaxing, laying in bed. And I knew she's the one I wanted to be with for the rest of my life. So I just said it. We were just laying there and I just said, marry me. She's she thought I was joking because sometimes I'll slip it out and I'll just be like, hey,
she's been dropping hints for a really long time.
Married. And so she thought I was joking. I said, I'm so serious.
Oh my gosh.
And then, ever since then, we're engaged. We already have rings and stuff. So that wasn't a huge thing for us. But yeah.
Okay. Well, I can't help but think that would be a great country song. I got liquored and proposed, lying in the hotel bed. Anyway, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It's really a lovely bright spot, and I'm thankful that you've been willing to be so open about it.
Yeah, of course. We were super excited to do this. Me more so than anyone, but I was excited. So I'm happy that we got to share a little bit of our life with you.
And hopefully it helps someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for being on the Canadian Love Map.
Anytime.
And all the best, you two.
Yeah, you as well. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for listening to the Canadian Love Map. If you love us, please subscribe and share. We'll be back next week with another love story to add to the map. This podcast is presented and made possible by Charm Diamond Centers. It's hosted by me, Nancy Regan, and is produced and distributed by Podstarter.